geometry. I want you guys to know that I always start out with you guys when I make my plans these nights, and partly because class is different than the others. You know, we're not using Khan Academy, we're doing the textbook, and anyway, that's neither here nor there, I guess. But create a textbook organizer, do 1027. Edpuzzle do 1027, complete IXL 1029, upload a practice test. All right, so these are like things we've been doing for the past few weeks. So you think that people, you know, I'm gonna go to the student work, okay? And I'm not doing so to call you out, but we are a team here, all right? You all have to learn the same things. So look around the room right now. Whoever you just looked at has to learn the same things as you. And then you can look to the other side. That person also needs to learn the same things as you. You all need to learn all of the same things. And when you understand something, as you know, you should be helping other people. Do we have to talk about that again? Level 4, level 3, level 2, the levels. Look, they're on the wall in front as long as no one has ripped them down. So I'm seeing, oh, now I know that I just updated the class. All right. Sorry, Stephen Fabio. You are not here anymore. But we can see Nana, Terry, Camille, Darrell, Usman, Joshua, Caitlin. All right. So you guys have to attach your textbook organizer. Everyone else has it now. I haven't graded these yet. All right. I'll be straightforward and honest with you. I'm going to grade them tomorrow. Last week, I graded them and gave you feedback and gave you time to correct. After I did that, there were still some people that never made any changes. So make the changes, all right? You know, look at your textbook organizers from last week. Did you get a 10 out of 10? Did you get a 7 out of 10? Some people still are not filling out the blue section with the numbers of the practice and problem solving exercises. They're just putting weird things. All right. Compare your textbook organizers with each other. If you got a 10 out of 10, then help other people who did not. Okay. So that when I'm grading these things, I will see quality work because everyone knows how to, and don't let anyone end the class without attaching their work. So Nana, Terry, Camille, Darrell, Usman, Joshua, Caitlin, let's all get those attached, okay? And all of your other classmates have the responsibility to help you if in fact you need it, or maybe you have the organizer and you just need to attach it. We will not know. But now I want you to join me in going to the organizer, which I have not opened yet, but I'm going to open now because Thursday is like the beginning of our, you know, question and answer class type thing. Oh, good. Well, at least we have a table. So that's good. Jaden. All right, Jaden. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I would assume this is Jaden as well, but I don't want to have to assume. Make sure you put your name on top of every question. Now, this is incomplete. Okay, you can't just put the lines are parallel. That is not the answer, and that is not what we want to put. So I want to know why did you choose the answer that you did? Okay, so, but you put that in the green section so we can let you fix that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We got some Really good red questions. Wow. Mr. Fields getting a little overwhelmed here. There was a lot of red questions, but that's good. All right, that's what I want. It's what I've been waiting for 2 months, and it's here. Red questions. It's a red question extravaganza bonanza. And so we will start with Jaden, although we need to be making these a little larger. Now, the only other thing is I'm going to do Jaden's red question here. Now, if I get to someone else's red question and it's similar, then I'm going to ask you to, try it. Okay, a solar dish collects energy by directing radiation from the sun to a receiver located at the focal point of the dish. Assume that the radiation rays are parallel. Determine the relationship between each pair of angles and explain your reasoning. All right, so we got some parallel. Oh, you see so, okay, the relationship between, okay, the radiation rays. So where are the radiation rays? They're right here, you see? And so we got angle 3 is here, angle 5 is here, angle 2 is here, angle 1 is here, angle 4 is here. It's kind of hard to see the angles. Wish I could even zoom in more. Let me zoom in a little more. Okay, well, that's as good as it's going to get. So you see, angle 5 is here, angle 3. So these are linear pair. Angle 2 is up here, corresponding with angle 3. Angle 1 is same side interior with angle 2. Goes from here to here. And angle 4 is this little corresponding. So 3, 2, and 1, 2, 3 are all corresponding angles. Does everybody see that? If anyone does not see that, pause the video and someone explain it. Okay, hopefully someone paused the video. Now 1 here, I don't see any other angles that match to 1. 5 is kind of on its own too. All right, so 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are, well, we already said they're corresponding angles. How about 1 and 3? Corresponding angles. All right. 4 and 5. 4 and 5. Well, if I'm thinking about this line and this line, where is 4? 4 is in the exterior, and 5 is in the interior. So now we could say that, what we could say is, we could say that they're supplementary. They don't have an angle pair name, but almost alternate exterior, except that 5 is in the interior, so they're not alternate. They're alternate, all right, but 5 is in the interior and 4 is in the exterior. But we can't say they're supplementary. 3 and 4. 3 and is 4 right here? 3 is right here. They're corresponding. All right, so all the corresponding angle pairs are congruent. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so let's go ahead and screenshot that. So basically that is, one of the ones where we're just kind of looking at the transversal and trying to figure out our angle pair names like we did last week. Okay, so Jaden, possibly you're less confused, possibly just as much confused. Please write to me. Write to me, Jaden. Tell me what you understand or don't, so that I can, there's a conversation here. It's not like okay, now I get it, Mr. Field, sometimes, but 3 question marks, like, what is that? And then the other thing is, it looks like, okay, so I need the picture. Okay, so I need the picture. I can't do the proof. Every proof has a picture. Okay, and if there's no picture, then you can draw one. Franklin, the reasoning is invalid. I'm sorry to do this to you too, Franklin, but I need a picture. But hey, I see a picture right here. So let's do this one. Okay, and a good question. How would I know what angle goes for line 3? Oh, okay, got it. All right. Great question, Franklin. Piece was in peer tutoring. And by the way, peer tutoring is on Tuesday and Thursday from 4:45 to 6:45. And you can always join. I know some of you guys feel kind of lost. I've never seen you in peer tutoring or in morning nap. So don't just sit there and be lost. All right, so we're going to talk about proofs here. Do a deep dive in proofs. So the given is that the lines are parallel. Now, how would I know that? It's marked in the diagram. So I would like you to draw this diagram in your notes, and I want you to write that the red arrows indicate, I mean, they don't have to be red, but when you put little arrows on lines, like I usually do it like that, indicate parallel. So given items are either written, sometimes it says given, this is congruent to that, or sometimes it's not written. Sometimes it's marked in diagram. So you may wonder, how do I start a proof? You know that the first reason is given. Where is the given? The given is either written above the picture, we don't have any given information written above this picture, or it is marked in the picture. So we have one piece of given information, and that is that the lines are parallel. But you know what? That is all the information that we need. So we know that, okay, after that, we want to determine what are we trying to prove. So in this, I'm forgetting the table here for a second. I want everyone to forget the table is even there for a second so we can answer Franklin's question. UXY, I'm going to put a little 1 there. That's angle 1. And VUX, I'm going to put a little angle 2 there. Okay, I'm going to call that angle 2. So we want to prove that angle 1 is supplementary to angle 2. 1 is supplementary to angle 2. Does everybody see that these are same side interior angles? And so what we do is we make a little proof plan. Well, first of all, we know the lines are parallel. We know that WY is parallel. Goodness, it's sloppy. You know that WY is parallel to TZ. So then what angle theorems do we have to say anything about those? Well, we start out with the corresponding angle postulate. So if you see parallel lines, then you can start off with the CAP. All right, look at your corresponding angles. What corresponding angles do we have? Hopefully you'll already know where they are, but which corresponding angles are related to angles 1 and 2? Which angle corresponds with angle 1? That would be this one up here. We're going to call that angle 3. Okay. And then, so angle 1, I'm going to put a little, make those red. Okay, so we know that these are corresponding angles. And we also know that angle 1 is part of what we're working with. Now, what about 2? What angle corresponds with angle 2? This one down here. So let's put a 4. Okay, so we also got those. So we can use those things because we could say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3 because they're corresponding angles, right? And then furthermore, we could also say that angle 2 and angle 3 have a relationship. What is that relationship? Shout it out. Hopefully you just said linear pair. Okay, so they're a linear pair. And then you could say, well, if 1 is congruent to 3 and 3 is supplementary to 2, 1 is also supplementary to 2. See my Edpuzzle video from I just made, congruent supplements theorem. So that's one way, but there's another way to prove it, and that is, so the other way to prove it, that the angles are supplementary, look at 2 and 4. They are also congruent by the corresponding angle postulate, and 1 and 4 are a linear pair. So either way would be right. But let's look at what this proof has already stated. UXY, UXY, that's angle 1, and SUV, that's angle 3. Okay, so they said that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So our proof plan is the corresponding angle postulate, the linear pair theorem, and then, substitution. Or you could even say the congruent supplements theorem. So anyway, it's not the vertical angle theorem in this case. So, I make my proof plan and I see what line of logic I can follow, and then I write the proof. So what angles are we going to choose? Well, we know that 1 is congruent to 3, but we want to prove 1 and 2. So now this line should be about 2 and 3. So that this line is about 1, 2, right? Is that right? Yeah. Okay, so 2 and 3. So 2 and 3 are a linear pair. All right. Don't worry, guys. I'll be back in less than, in a week, in 2 days. So we'll go over proofs when I'm back as well. But 2 and 3 are linear pairs. So we're going to write that the theorem is going to be the equation. And let me just, so what is angle 2? Angle 2 is VUX. So the measure of angle VUX plus the measure of angle 3 is SUV. Linear pair theorem. And then we have our proof. So hopefully that helps somewhat. Start out by trying to make a proof plan, and guess what? As we go further on into the course, I will be requiring a proof plan. So let's try that again. Let's make a little proof plan for this next one. You ready? Whoa, 93. Look at that, 50 questions answered. Now, how are you going to answer 50 questions, but only put like one in the organizer? That is going to lead to frustration. Make sure if you answer 50 questions, I mean, you should have a boatload of questions in the organizer, but I only see a couple. So anyway, let's move on. So we're going to make a proof plan. We have our given information. This time it's written. So there's that. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video, and why don't you guys take, 5 minutes and try to make a proof plan. Hopefully you have unpaused the video just now and have made your proof plan. Now you can see what my proof plan is. Okay, so QS is there and TV is here, so they are parallel. That's given. So we got QS is parallel to TV, and I know there are lines. I'm being lazy with the segment bars. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use my corresponding angle postulate, which they're calling corresponding angle theorem, whatever. Okay, and then we want to prove that angles are congruent. So angles that are congruent are like alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding vertical. So where is RUV? RUV. So I'm just gonna put my little ones in there again. QRU. Oh, they're alternate interior angles. Did you see that? Now we can't use the alternate interior angle theorem in this proof because it's actually what we're trying to prove. Okay, so in future proofs you could use it, but not for when you're trying to prove it, you can't use it. All right, you have to use previous theorems like the corresponding angle postulate, the vertical angle theorem, and the linear pair theorem. Have those to choose from. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start out by looking at our corresponding angles that relate to the angles in question. So angle 1 is corresponding with this guy, and angle 2 is corresponding with this guy. So same thing, right? All right. Then I want to say, okay. So if I'm trying to prove they're congruent, then I'm going to use that vertical angle theorem. What about you? All right, so we have two different paths again, but let's see. So what path? Let's just choose a path and stick with it. So QRU is angle 2. So let's do this. Let's go from 1 to 3 and 3 to 2. Okay, so yeah, 1 to 3. So we're going to say SRP. QRU SRP. I just said that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. That's my angle 1, and this is my angle 3. Does everyone see those are congruent by the corresponding angle theorem? Now we need to say that angle 3 is congruent to angle 2. SRP is congruent to angle QRU by the vertical angle theorem. Very good. And then the last thing, so if 1 is congruent to 3 and 3 is congruent to 2, then 1 is congruent to 2 by the transitive property of congruence. Very good. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. We're kind of just looking for the corresponding angles that are related to the angles that are given. And then we're using the linear pair theorem to prove supplementary, and when we're using the vertical angle theorem to prove congruent. So on the test, how would I be able to remember all of these? And more importantly, how would I remember the angles to use on the statement side, especially for the third one? So hopefully I answered that question. Look at the angles given and then the related angles. You are a geometry student in 8th grade, so you're going to have to use those note cards, Quizlet, and you're going to have to go through the theorems. There's not really that much when you start going through it. Go through them every night for 10, 15 minutes, and slowly but surely, as you practice them and use them in your problems, you will remember them. Not everyone's going to do that, and I'm sorry for that. I don't really understand these terms at all. So let's help Tariq out. And there will be IXL questions on the quiz next week, in addition to the textbook questions. Isn't that great? So I'll do probably one IXL question from each thing, That way there's only 2 proofs. Okay, so in this one, look at the given is marked. We talked about that. And we're starting out with the corresponding angle. Surprise, surprise. And we're going to the transit property. Is that right? Now, okay, so I wonder if there's questions about that. But you can ask me later, but you think it was very general. So now the new thing about this one is how to show that the lines are parallel. So in order to know why these lines are parallel, let's look at statement 5. Statement 5 says QSR. Where is QSR? So let's write a little angle 1 here. That's QSR. And QVU. QVU. Angle 2. What kind of angles are they? They're corresponding angles. So this is the reason that these lines are parallel is the corresponding angle postulate. Wait for it. Converse. All right, if you watched my Edpuzzle video, I hope you did. And you know that the converses show that lines are parallel. Thank you, Tariq. What is the transitive property of congruence? Okay, so that's 1 is equal to 2, I mean congruent to 2. 2 is equal to 3, then 1 is equal to 3. Replace equals with congruence. But the property works for equals and congruent. So 2 things are congruent to the same thing, then they are also congruent to each other. For example, the transitive property of geometry students. Michael is in Gabriel's geometry class. Terry is also in Gabriel's geometry class. It stands to reason that Terry is in Michael's geometry class by the transitive property of geometry classes. Okay, what is an auxiliary line? That is great. That is a brand new question we haven't went over. An auxiliary line is a line that's used in proofs sometimes. This is such a long video. In order to prove that, in order to help us with the proof. So this is a corner here, but we can extend in order to make a transversal. So once we do that, then we can see some different angles that we have. Like now I can see that this angle is corresponding with x. Then I can also make a auxiliary line there, and I can see that's 50. This is 50. And then we can start to get other angles. And then once we have our other angles, see, now I know that I know, so, triangle sum theorem, 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180. So I know that this is 72, so this is going to be 108. This is 50, vertical angle, that's 50. And now I can solve for x. So an auxiliary line is is an imaginary part that you add to the picture so that you can solve the problem. Okay, so if your question makes it into the video, make sure you are updating the organizer. Page 152 in yellow, number 4, got it question. In the figure at the right, what are the values of x and y? Okay. The 4 angles of this polygon add to 360. So this is like, how we set them equal to 180 so far this year. So you're gonna add all angles together and set equal to 360, then solve. I think if all those variables are the same. Variables are not the same. Oh, okay, the variables don't look the same. So the other thing you can do is, okay, never mind about that. The other way you could do it, the way you have to do it actually, is these are same side interior angles. They are supplementary. All right, forget I ever said the 360. We'll do that in a later chapter. So you got the two x expressions, add them together equal 180. The two y's, add them together equal 180. Okay, what's going on here? Can you give a picture examples so I can remember? Angles forming a linear pair. Angles forming a linear pair. Boom, 1 and 2. Converse of corresponding angle theorem. So if 1 and 2 are congruent, then the lines are parallel. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, then L is parallel to M. Corresponding angles theorem. So that's just the opposite. If L is parallel to M, then 1 is congruent to 2. Supplementary angles. The measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. Reflexive property of congruence. A equals A, or A is congruent to A. Reflexive property of equality. A equals A. Substitution. A plus B equals C, and B is equal to D, then A plus D equals C. Substitute. Transitive property of congruence. 1 equals 2. 1 is congruent to 2, and 2 is congruent to 3. Then 1 is congruent to 3. Transitive property of equality, just replace those with equal signs. Vertical angle theorem. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. There you go. Okay. Pictures for you, but there should also be pictures, much better pictures in the textbook. And an even better question would be to ask me about those pictures. Okay. Step-by-step solution to this one. Is this one in there? All right. So we did these proofs. Oh, how do I even begin? Okay, and now this one. So these ones we're gonna, all the angles are either supplementary, you add them together to get 180, or they are congruent. Okay. So this video is a bit long, I think. So hopefully I've answered some questions. So go ahead and do your IXL today. Do that textbook organizer. Update the organizer if your question was answered, or if your question wasn't answered, say you didn't answer my question. Here's a more specific question, and let's have a conversation. And if I need to record another video, maybe a little short of a video, then I will do that. All right. Bye, guys, for now.